All right, hello everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. I am very happy to be back today. It feels like I have not talked to YouTube in forever, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who commented well wishes on my last video. If you aren't caught up or if you are new here, I recently gave birth in the beginning of March, and I had my surrogate baby. So I actually didn't have a child of my own, but I did give birth recently. So the past few weeks for me have really just been a lot of rest and recovery and reflection, honestly. And so I've just been wanting to give myself some time to really get my closure and just process everything that happened. We also moved the same week. So we moved into our new house, and then the baby came, I think, like 5 days later or 4 days later. So it's been a lot over here. And with that comes changes. And I think on my previous video, I mentioned that I was anticipating changes for myself because I am going through such a huge transitional period. And that kind of happened. I didn't really mean it for it to, but we have a lot of updates. We have a lot of changes happening. So I don't really know what this video is. It's kind of an update, but it's kind of, I would say, a look into how I determine what my wants and needs are for my planning and journaling system, and kind of how I came to those conclusions in real time and how I'm moving forward. So we're gonna start a little bit chronologically because I feel like that would be easiest, but I'm gonna try and give you pretty quick updates because I don't want to be here all day long, and you probably don't want to watch that for very long. So last video I was in rings. I was actually in my Saffiano Filofax cover, and shortly after I posted that video, my new cover had come in the mail. I ordered this one from eBay. It is a Filofax. I think these are called the Enigmas. I've never seen them before. I cannot find any information about them on the internet, so I kind of just bought it on a whim, and I love it. I'm obsessed with this cover. It's like super soft and squishy, and it has like the pockets of a Malden and then a back pocket of like the Filofax Ranger. It's perfect. It's brilliant. I love this cover a lot. So I had moved into this cover for a few days, I believe, and then I had the baby. So rings really hasn't been a want or a need for me because I'm currently on maternity leave. So I'm not working. I don't really have any adulting responsibilities other than just like taking care of my own kids right now. So the past 3 weeks for me truly have just been rest and recovery. And for me, ring planning and ring journaling doesn't really match up with like rest and recovery. And so I haven't felt super called to using my rings. I still do open it up every day, and I like check my weekly schedules. I make sure I'm not really like missing anything, and I have been upkeeping with my weekly spreads, but this definitely doesn't align with my current like lifestyle or my shift in like my wants and needs for like my journaling. Long story short, I'm not really like using this right now. I'm referencing it every day, or at least every other day, but it's not something that I am actively, I don't know, engaging with or like feeling the want to engage with. And that's totally fine. And that's something I kind of expected of myself because I think on my last video, or a couple of videos ago, I mentioned that rings for me is a really good system when I feel like I'm needing to be in control of my life. And then bound books are really good resources for when I'm feeling that I want more comfort in my life. And as I am postpartum and I'm recovering and reflecting at home, I have definitely been into this new shift where I want comfort more than control, because I'm not working, I'm not a surrogate anymore, so I don't have to upkeep like this impossible schedule that I was upkeeping for so long. And so it actually has been really nice to kind of take a step back away from this, just because I kind of associate this with all of my like adulting obligations, duties, my productivity. And right now I don't want to be productive. I just want to rest and recuperate and truly just, I don't know, give myself some space to just be and not, I don't know, have any high expectations of myself. That's kind of where we're at with that. And I will say that a video, Megan Rhiannon's last video, or the video before the last one that she posts, she had talked about moving into her Hobonichi cousin, and a lot of the things that she was saying really resonated with me and where I'm at currently. And I would say Megan was definitely like a catalyst into, I don't know, the extra like push or shove I needed to just like prioritize myself a little bit. And so after watching Megan's video, I was like, okay, yes, I think right now, current Tori wants the comfort of a bound book, which is kind of funny because these last couple videos I've been saying that like there is no bound book that is gonna make me happy, but that was also like pre-birth Tori, and pre-birth Tori had a lot of different needs than current. So I really wanted to just move into a bound book, have that comfort. I really wanted to like journal and reflect about my entire surrogacy experience, because that's not something that I've been doing at all in any of my books, and that's mainly just because I wanted the privacy. I'm also just at home pretty much all day with my kids, and so I have a lot of free time right now. And so for me, I've definitely gotten the itch to start practicing my art again, and just a lot more of my special interest stuff and less productivity stuff. So after watching Megan's video, I was like, you know what, I still want to upkeep with my rings, because when I do end up going back to work and I need something to keep me organized with my work to-dos and life and all of that, I would still like to use my rings. So for me, my next thought would be to move into an A6 Hobonichi, because I felt like the A6 and the rings would be manageable to upkeep together, so 2 books at once. I know this doesn't work for me functionally, and last year when I was in the A6, let me grab it. Last year when I tried the A6, I only made it 1 month before quitting on it. And so I told myself, if I move into a new A6, I really want to take a lot of the things that I learned in here and alter them or tailor them so I don't make the same mistakes in here. So I did purchase a Spring Start A6 Hobonichi, and this is my favorite cover of all time. And I basically just started going through and back planning a little bit. I mean, it's a Spring Start, so I technically can't start the daily pages until April, but I did go through here and I set up my monthly pages. I backfilled February and March, and then I just filled out all of this stuff for these upcoming months. And then I told myself, okay, well, I really want to journal and reflect about this past month because I've had so many big life changes. So since this book doesn't start in April, I will just go towards the back and use these February and March pages as like present. So I did go back here. I did a lot of journaling. I put paint to paper for the first time in like 8 months, which was really scary for me, but the A6 is such an approachable, like non-intimidating size that I painted a picture of the house that we moved into, and I basically just went back here and did some little journal entries and really kind of, I don't know, gave myself the least amount of pressure possible to just like go in here and do whatever just so I could do it. And after a couple days in here, I think I got this on like March 11th maybe. But after a couple days of journaling in here, it still didn't feel completely right. Like I still wasn't completely satisfied with the A6 book. And I think it's a mix of the experience of writing in here, which I've mentioned before, and just like the overall functionality of this book. I don't really know, but kind of the same feelings that I was running into were the same feelings I had when I tried it in 2024. And I should have just learned my lesson then. But again, like life looks very different for me now than it did a year ago. So I just wanted to give myself the opportunity to try it. because I'm very, I don't know, privileged to be able to buy multiple books and to have that option to experiment. Basically, did a lot of experimenting in here. I watched some of my old YouTube videos. I went through and I grabbed my old Hobonichi cousin, and I just flipped through this and I tried to get a feel of what this might look for me in the future. These past like 5 or 6 months, every time I picked up my cousin or any bound book, it gave me like immediate ick feelings. But this past week or two, whenever I picked this book up, it just gave me a lot of comfort. And I don't know, it was really nice to like reminisce on a lot of this stuff. And back in March and April of 2024, well, technically like January, but really like things started changing for me around March and April, because that's when I was really getting into the start of my surrogacy journey. There's just a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of nostalgia in a sense back here, just because my life started really changing, and I would say I started changing as a person a lot. So this past week when I picked up my cousin, I really just got like a lot of nostalgia, a lot of that comfort that I've been craving. And I think my cousin for me has always just been like a very safe space to make stuff that is both like aesthetically pleasing to me. So like a lot of the art that I have done in here is art that I really enjoy looking at. But my cousin has also always been a safe space for me to do like ugly art and notes and messy things that I don't really like looking at. But it was very, I don't know, meditative or healing for me to do. And so the current Tori and my current wants and needs, I feel like I'm wanting this feeling again, but with the wisdom that I now have like 1 year later. And I don't want my cousin to look like this or function like this. And the weeklies have been something that have never functioned really well for me, like from a productive, functional standpoint, because I've always used them for journaling. So I knew that if the cousin was something that I wanted to pick back up again, this was going to have to change. And for me to figure out how to make this work, it would really just take some experimenting. And I think that's something that I've always really championed on my channel, is truly just sitting down with yourself and experimenting a lot and just trying different things until they click with you. I could make a video on like 30 different ways to use a Hobonichi cousin, but if it's not something that is benefiting your wants and needs, like it doesn't matter how good of a system is, because we're all so unique and our needs and our wants are so like nuanced in a sense, that I feel like truly the best way to find your ideal system is to just experiment. And sometimes it's doing it in a new book, sometimes it's doing it in an old book. So for me, I decided I would experiment a little bit in my cousin that I had bought for 2025. I think I had bought this back in maybe October of 2024, because I thought I was going to move into the cousin. Since purchasing this, my daughter has actually gone through and colored a lot of the pages in here, so it's not something that I'm very interested in like backfilling or moving into right now, because my planner and my journal is like the one space for me as a mom that I have hard boundaries on. And I do like when my kids give me their drawings and they color on some pages like that, I don't mind. But for me, like I really just need this to be the one thing that is just purely mine. And if you're a parent, I think you'll understand this. And so I knew I didn't want to like move into this, and this was purely just going to be like an experiment book. So the past few days I have been in here and really, again, experimenting. So I knew the weekly page was going to be the first obstacle of mine to figure out. So I think the first thing that I actually did was come in here and just write like how I was feeling. Like here, I'm going to write in this weekly. I'm going to see how it feels. I'm going to test it out and see if I like it both aesthetically and functionally. So I did that, and I was like, yeah, I don't think moving forward that like just journaling in here like I did in my previous book is what I necessarily want or need. So then I moved into my first weekly experiment, I guess you could say. I just started playing with the layouts of the page. I did some like fake journal entries in here, and I just kind of made stuff up so I could fill the page out. I made like some fake to-dos and habits and stuff. I filled this out and I said, okay, how does this look? How does this feel to me? How did it like function, even though it was kind of like in a fake sense? And I took all that feedback from myself and what I did like and what I wanted to get rid of. And then I made another one. So this was my weekly version 1. And then I moved into a weekly version 2. And I made notes to myself on like what I liked, what I needed to tweak a little bit. And I just tried some like different things. I tried different handwriting. I tried cursive on some of these columns. I even like did like small enough things where like some of these columns I'm writing in the actual grid boxes, and then on some of these columns I'm writing on the grid line. And I was able to figure out like, oh, actually I really much prefer writing on the grid line instead of writing in the boxes, which I've always written in the boxes. So that was like a huge change for me, but in my brain and like my preferences, it looks a lot more appealing to me. So this was version 2, and then I moved into version 3, which is this one. And in this version, I really think I kind of cracked it, and what I wanted, I don't know, my initial weeklies to really like look and function like for me. I still made a couple notes, and there were still a couple things that I wanted to change. But for me, current Tori, this feels and looks like perfect. And it's not super, super different than my old weeklies in my cousin. Like this is last year's book. But there's a lot of small, significant changes in here, which are gonna work a lot better for the current me. And so this felt really good. And so I just made a couple more notes. I did a couple little experiments on pages and tried a couple other things in here. Something that I also really love doing, like one of my biggest Hobonichi hacks that I do is that whenever I'm wanting to switch up the layout of the cousin, I like taking my Posca pen. This is like my current pen case, which is like kind of a mess, but whenever I'm wanting to change up the layout, you can actually just take a white Posca pen and you can white out the numbers or the lines of the cousin. And the Posca pen is nice because it's really light, so it doesn't bleed through to the other side, and it also doesn't make the book like thicker like a real paint would. And the white paint itself is thin enough that it covers up the numbers, but you can still like faintly see the line behind the I don't know, the whiteout, I guess, or the paint. And then you can basically just like layer it on and make it as opaque as you want to make it. But when it blends in with the rest of the grid, you kind of almost don't even notice it. And so whenever I'm wanting to change the original layout, I like to play around with a white Posca pen, because then it's really just like an open canvas for me, and I can figure out how I want to orient my pages. And then something else that I used to do in the past, let me see if I have the pen. Let me actually grab it really quick. Whenever I want to redraw in lines, usually I'll either just use a gray Pigma Micron pen. This is a black one, but they have gray ones. I'll either draw in new lines with this, or the one that I found as the most similar to the ones that Hobonichi prints in here is this Winsor & Newton. This is in 0.3, and I think it's in cool gray. Yeah, the color is cool gray. It's a fine liner. It's water resistant. It doesn't fade. And it's just a little felt tip pen. And I've just found, well, it looks really dark right now, but for me, this one was the most comparable to the like printed Hobonichi lines. So I like using this pen too when I'm drawing in my own layouts. But yeah, I basically just went in here these past like few days, and I really just like sat down with myself and really thought about like present me and future me and how I could make this layout work for me. and I think I'm in a really good spot with it, and this felt really good. And so this is a week that I'm trialing for myself right now. So these are all like real things. And so since I kind of had the weeklies figured out, I said, okay, now let's figure out the monthly calendars. And these have always functioned really well for me, but I figured if I was already making like little tweaks and improvements, I could just do the same thing with each layout and each spread. So you'll see in here, like I did a lot of like the same information on these different boxes to see what clicked with me and what looked appealing, but also like functioned, I don't know, as like a real calendar. And so this experiment was really insightful as well. So then after I got done with my monthly calendar, I moved back to the dailies because I want to approach the dailies a little bit differently than I did in my previous cousin, but I also want to be realistic with myself because I know that doing a page per day is not something that historically has ever worked for me, and I don't foresee that changing in the future, but I would still like to push myself to try, because something that has kind of recently shifted in me, and I think this is definitely like a post surrogacy, post having a baby type of thing, because having a baby and like growing life and being able to like complete a family in the way that I got to experience changed me as a person, for all the better reasons. And for me, it was just very eye-opening, and it really made me want to romanticize my everyday a lot more. It really made me want to just sit down with myself and, I don't know, like really appreciate the little things a lot more. I think that the world kind of being on fire right now also currently makes me just want to take all of the things that are within my immediate person and my control and really just romanticize and appreciate them to the most of my ability. And so I really want to push myself to try writing a lot more in the daily pages than I did last year. And so for me, I think after doing, you know, my little experimenting pages in here, what I would like to do is stick with a page per day. So when I do want to come back in here and write things down, I am doing it on the corresponding date. But on the days that I don't have anything to write about, or I don't know, I'm not feeling the call for it, I'll just leave it blank and then keep moving on with the dates. And then whenever I am wanting to do like a painting or art sketches or maybe just my messy notes, I can come back and refer to all of those blank pages and use that empty space in that canvas for those other needs that I have in my planner. And so that's how I think I'm gonna approach it. That could change and I could just tailor it as I see fit. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to take time for the little things a lot more. I want to get off my phone more, and I have plenty of screen time that I could switch from my phone over into my book. And there's this quote, I don't know where I heard it recently, but it was like, create more than you consume. And that's something that I would definitely like to keep in mind moving forward. I would just like to create a lot more than I am consuming, specifically with like screen time. My planner and my journal has always been a safe space for me to create. And so for me, it just makes sense moving into a cousin, because when I look at my rings, I could, like, realistically, I could do all of this in my rings. And would it work? Probably. I don't think I would get the same amount of joy in it. So for me, like, the joy is always going to be something I prioritize over like the productivity of it maybe. But for me, it doesn't feel very like romantic in a sense to journal and do art in my rings versus the bound book. And I think with just where I'm at currently, like I would really just like the comfort of a bound book. So I say all of that to say that I made a purchase recently because we are at the end of March, which means the spring start Hobonichis are out and available. So I did make myself a little purchase, a little push present, if you will, if you know what that is. And I bought some goodies from Yoseka. Support your local stationery shops, not Amazon if you're able to. But I wanted to buy my next notebook from Yoseka because they are located in Brooklyn, New York. I have a lot of strong attachments to New York because that's where our fertility clinic was located at. So if you guys have been with me for a while, I actually went to New York 3 times last year for surrogacy things. And I have a very strong attachment now to New York. And so I thought it would be very fitting if I purchased this from Yoseka because that is where they are located. And it's just like having a little piece of New York with me every day. So I did buy quite a few things, but I tried to make very intentional purchases, definitely. Let's save this one for last. Okay, cool. So I got a couple things to set up my notebook. I did get some KITTA stickers. I think this one, I forgot the name of this one. It's like postage stamp, I think. But they're basically just like washi stickers, but they're perforated in the shapes of these little stamps. And I thought they were just like super beautiful, and I really liked the style of them. So I did get myself some KITTA tapes, which wasn't really a need, but definitely a want for my new book. Next is this plotter band with the page lifter, which I will show you how I'm going to use this in a second. I got an A5 clear cover because I am a clear cover girly when it comes to Hobonichi. And then I bought myself a Spring Start 2025 Hobonichi cousin, which these colors are kind of matched now that I look at it. I also have always loved the Spring Starts. My cousin that I have completed was a 2023 Spring Start. My birthday is in April. My birthday is April 6th. Me and this Joe Journals actually share a birthday together. We are birthday besties. So it always feels really special to me to start a Spring Start notebook because it starts in like my favorite month of the year. So I really like Spring Starts for that. And I think with just like winter ending and spring beginning, it's just a nice fresh start in general. Which I really just need to stop like buying January start planners because I feel like this every single year where I want a fresh start in April. Maybe one day I'll learn, but for now we're just gonna keep spending. Here she is. So beautiful. It feels so naked right now. I technically can't start the weeklies until next week, I believe, because next week is April 1st. Yeah, correct. So once I get done filming this current video, I'm gonna go in here and basically backfill all the monthlies that I can. And then I think I'm gonna do the same thing that I was doing in my A6, where I'm gonna go back here into February of 2026 and March of 2026, and I'm just gonna treat these as like current dailies, and I'm gonna go and backfill all the big life happenings that happened recently and just like slowly take my time and backfill. And then hopefully by the time that April 1st starts, I'm kind of done backfilling, and then I can just move back up to the front and start April in real time, and then I can start my weeklies. And I'm really excited. I love the cousin. I'm really praying that the paper that I got is decent, but something else that I was really intentional about when moving into this cousin was the pen that I was going to use. And I did not want to have the background anxiety of having bad paper or my pens bleeding through. So something that I have consciously decided for myself was that, at least for now and for the foreseeable future, I am gonna exclusively use the Pilot Friction pen in this book, just because the pen is erasable, so that really helps my perfectionist brain. And it actually came so handy when I was doing all of these experiment pages. It is so nice to be able to experiment and then just like erase something and try it again. And I think that's something I definitely would like to take moving forward, because it gives me space not to be perfect, and I can be a little bit more messy and know that it's like not the end of the world. And then the other thing that I knew I would need for this book to like feel good for me was the cover situation. And I do have my favorite cover ever in the A5 size, which is this guy. But for me, I just hate having covers on the cousin because it just makes it feel so huge and bulky. And realistically, at least right now, this is not something that I am entertaining with myself, because it just doesn't feel right. And when I used my 2023 cousin, I almost never had this in a case, and it was just a clear cover. And I mean, she's beat up for sure. She's definitely dusty and crusty. But it's kind of nice, like having a little beat up, old, chunky book. So I don't really mind this. And so I think moving forward, I'm just going to continue with the clear cover only. But with that comes the closure of it, which is where this guy comes in. So we're gonna do that together right now, because I thought it would be helpful to show you guys rather than tell you when I actually do have this set up. But I did buy the A5 Midori cover. This is the one that's gonna be a really snug, tight fit, because I don't like, I think it's like the Codex is the big one. So I will have to blow this with like a hair dryer when I get done filming, but that's okay. I'm just gonna take this off really quick. Okay, so here is the cover. I'm just gonna put it on now so I don't ruin my book by accident. I do like the feeling of these covers. Like, I like the plasticky feel personally, and I like the cover of the color of this cover more. I know they have the gingham pawn. I don't think they have it in the Spring Start, or they might, but I think I much prefer this like light nude color to the black. I think those are my kids playing in the background. But something I thought I could do to give myself a closure in this book was to use a band, specifically this one, because I want it attached to my book at all times. I don't want just like a band on its own that can like fall off and get lost somewhere. I wanted something that can like just stay in my book and I don't have to like fuss with it. So what I'm gonna do, or what I'm gonna try to do, is basically I'm going to stick this in the cover and I'm going to cut a little slit up here at the top that I can stick my band through. And this lifter is essentially just always gonna stay back here, but because it is behind the cover and the band is coming out with a slit, it's never gonna fall out. And then I can always just have a band closure on it. Let's see. I wish they had other colors, but I don't really have the luxury of being picky right now. So it's going to function something a little like this, which I'm gonna have to play around with a little bit, but that's basically how I'm going to keep my cousin closed, so I can still throw it around and not be super concerned that my pages are gonna get ruined, but I don't have to put my cousin in like a big bulky cover. So I'm gonna do that really quickly right now, and usually when I do this, I kind of just eyeball it and I kind of just wing it a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So I just need to mark where I need to make the cut, and I'm gonna probably have to cut a slit for this entire little bump right here. So let's just say right there. I'm gonna move this, and then I'm actually gonna take this part out so I don't ruin it. And then something that I also do so I don't cut to the other side is I will stick like a card or a pencil board in here so I can just slit this with like scissors or like an X-Acto knife if you have one of those, and I don't have to worry about cutting it to the other side. Is there probably like a better, less scary way to do this? 100%. But my Aries brain will not have that. So, okay. I think this will be big enough. It's not the prettiest, but no one's ever gonna see it. So let's see if this works. I'll like feed this through first. Hopefully I can get this in here. I might have to like bend it a little bit. Yep. Okay. I'm glad this page lifter is so like bendy too. I wasn't sure how thick it was gonna be. Oh yeah, it's perfect. Okay, cool. So then it's just stuck in there. And then you can put the back cover either behind it so you don't see this, or in front of it if you like the look of the black, but I'm gonna stick it behind everything. Okay. Is this gonna shut? My cover is just so tight. Okay, so now that it's in there, I should just be able to put this on and it will stay no matter what because it's in the actual cover. And then that way I can still use the band, and when I want to replace the plastic cover, I can do that. But that is my little hack to keeping the Hobonichi Cousin closed when you want. And then when you want to take it off or remove this, you can just remove it whenever. But I do need to like really stretch this clear cover out because she's really bending. Moving forward, when and if I have a planner change, I'm just gonna call it a planner pivot, not a planner hop, because I think hopping sounds a little, I don't know, like not intentional. And I was definitely very intentional about this pivot with myself. And I just want to, I don't know, give myself a lot of grace and also just like enjoy this hobby of mine. And so I'm really excited to move back into the Cousin. Did not really anticipate this for myself, but I think I say that with every like planner change that happens. Oh wait, I have other stuff from Yoseka that I forgot about. Let me open those really quickly. I'm gonna put this back on. I don't know if there's a glare on this, so actually we're gonna open this. I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna try and not destroy this. I did kind of forget what I ordered, but that's kind of the fun of it. Okay, cute, keeping, of course. Also very cute, keeping that, of course. So I did buy myself a slimmer Posca pen because this one is kind of a tank to carry around with me, and the tip on this one is just a lot bigger. So by having a smaller nib size, it just lets me be a little bit more precise so I don't have a lot of like white paint everywhere. So I did get myself, I think this is just the fine. I think this is just one size down from this guy. So I did get one of those. I did see this pen from Tombow. It is a ballpoint pen. This is in the 0.5 and this is the Tombow monograph. I've never seen these and I've never heard of them. I just wanted to try another ballpoint pen because it looked like it would be good, and I liked the little hand grippy, and I liked the clicker and the color. So I'm still gonna stick with my friction, but I thought this might be a nice like work pen or just pen that I can use in my little pocketbook when I'm taking messy notes. I'll probably keep using this book just because this has been functioning really well for me, and I'm almost done with this one. So this is probably a pen that I will actually like keep in here at all times in my purse. Next, I got some washi tape. I really just liked the color and pattern of this. It's just a blue stripe washi tape, so nothing like super exciting or crazy. And then I did get this glue tape from Tombow as well. This is the one that I currently use. This is a Megan Rhiannon suggestion as well. And I've used this one. I've had this one specifically for maybe a year now. It's a little bulky to carry around with me. And then I think because the pages are so sensitive on the sands and paper, I'm gonna just try using something a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna try this glue tape and see how it works. This is my first time trying it, but it had good reviews, so we will see. But those are all the things that I picked up from Yoseka. I have some other stickers and such that I've picked up. to also decorate my book with. These are ones that I got from Etsy. The artist name is KS Illo. I've purchased from her multiple times. You guys may have seen these in some of my older videos, but the past couple months she's had some new designs come out, and I just think they're so beautiful, truly. So I picked these up because I like putting these in my monthly pages as well. And I think that's it. I think I have some other random stickers showing up, but the bulk of my purchase or changes is really just the cousin. So hopefully I should have a pretty detailed update for you guys next week. But thank you again for all the well wishes, all your patience these past few weeks, and would love to know how you guys are feeling as we move into spring, how your books are going, all of the things. Like, please let me know, because I am just at home and I'm on my phone a lot more because I'm not at work. So I would love to chat with you guys in the comments. So thank you so much again for being here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.